But did you know some of the foods that you might be feeding your kids are banned in other countries because of certain ingredients?
It's no secret. Middle Eastern nations like Saudi Arabia and Qatar have banned alcohol and pork for religious reasons. On the other hand, countries like Sweden and Norway have banned yellow Skittles due to health concerns. America may be the land of the free, but even here, some surprising food items are strictly banned. And whether you like it or not, the government does actually control what you can and can't eat. So buckle up as we reveal 20 foods that Americans are not allowed to eat. Haggis. In one of The Simpsons' iconic Treehouse of Horror episodes, Scotsman groundskeeper Willie mentions the Scottish cuisine haggis. In the scenario, Bart reads Willie's thoughts and asks, "What's haggis?" with a bewildered expression. Traditionally, minced offal, the technical word for animal scraps, helps produce this mostly Scottish food. Alright, not gonna lie, this dish might sound pretty nasty to some people, but hear me out. Sheep lungs, for instance, are regarded as offal, albeit there is no precise list of constituents. Just one ingredient could make people wonder why Scots like it, and they might even think that the United States made the right decision in outlawing it. It has been outlawed in the nation since 1971. The import and sale of any food items containing sheep lungs were banned by the United States Department of Agriculture. The ban stems from worries that during slaughter, bodily fluids like stomach acid may enter the lungs and endanger the health of consumers. Scots, meanwhile, would contend that haggis is just magnificent. It dates back centuries in Scotland and is widely known as a dish of tradition. Horse meat. Moving from Scotland to an even more controversial meat, let's talk about horse meat. The truth is that we have eaten and can still eat horse flesh. Given how much people like horses, it probably seems disgusting to most Americans who've never even thought of consuming horse meat. In actuality, their flesh is low in fat, high in protein, and rich in iron. It is the ideal blend in terms of effectiveness. While it's easy to understand why this would be wrong, it's unpleasant to think of horses as food for people, and it's cruel to contemplate the family pet or the winning racehorse for consumption. Although it is a horrible idea, many horses are killed for food even though they are not normally reared for that reason. This activity is strongly discouraged. Not all nations have officially banned it, at least not yet. Although horses are frequently exposed to chemicals throughout their lifetimes, many maintain that eating horse meat is safe. Even people who don't have a strong affinity for horses may agree that this topic isn't worth discussing. Simply said, horses are not suitable for a dinner plate. Horse meat is not commonly consumed in the United States, primarily due to cultural, legal, and ethical reasons. Absinthe. From a culinary taboo on horse meat, let's stir things up with another infamous ban. This time, not on food, but a drink with a mystique all its own: absinthe. Is this alcoholic drink legal or not? The arrow has swung from one to the other throughout history, but the answer is a little more nuanced than just declaring one way or the other. It was formerly thought that the extremely alcoholic beverage absinthe caused severe hallucinations. It all boils down to the drink's constituents, which include wormwood among other plants. Wormwood caused the government to outright prohibit the beverage until 1997, when it was lifted, albeit with some severe restrictions. The FDA now tightly regulates absinthe sales. It must contain less than 100 parts per million of thujone, a poisonous substance in wormwood. High doses of wormwood can cause seizures and other harmful effects. The drink is prohibited from being sold in the United States if it includes any additional of this ingredient. Absinthe is still accessible in some underground groups, since, of course, criminals don't usually worry about the law. Bushmeat. Are you familiar with bushmeat? It is essentially meat from wild animals that is either raw or extremely little prepared. Eating raw meat from a wild animal usually indicates that it may be concealing a communicable disease that can occasionally be harmful to human health. Bushmeat is often imported from Africa. Bats are among the many different species that are used to produce this type of meat. And we are all aware of the potential risks associated with eating bats, aren't we? No one wishes to see another worldwide pandemic in the other animals, such as cane rats and antelope. Non-human primates, such as apes and monkeys, can be used for producing bushmeat. Bushmeat is strictly prohibited in the United States and many other nations due to the high danger of disease and the unlawful method of obtaining the meat, which is poaching. Bushmeat and any personal belongings that may have come into touch with it will be deliberately destroyed if someone tries to bring them into the United States. Additionally, transporting it into the United States carries a $250,000 penalty, which is rather severe but justified. Ebola, one of the worst viruses in modern times that spreads by blood, has been found in illicit bushmeat on several occasions. Queen Conch. From land to sea, while bushmeat raises serious health and conservation concerns, another banned delicacy awaits in the ocean depths: the queen conch. This meal is a real specialty, as it seems to be limited to the Bahamas. The flesh has a chewy texture and is solid and white. Conch is often consumed raw with fresh veggies, cooked or deep-fried. Conchs are giant, soft-bodied marine mollusks. They may grow to 12 inches long and prefer to hang around in seagrass meadows or warm, shallow coral reefs. Some have nearly 40 years of life. Imagine how difficult they may be to consume. Florida used to have a sizable population of the delicacy as well, but since the 1970s, the population has significantly decreased. Overharvesting, now prohibited in the state, is allegedly to blame for the abrupt shift in circumstances. You won't be able to sample queen conch in the United States, so if you're hoping to catch a taste, you might want to take a plane to the Caribbean. Chilean seafish. Overfishing is the most evident and significant issue affecting the global fishing industry. What, therefore, is the most effective way to combat overfishing? Governments everywhere claim that the prohibition is unchangeable and instantaneous. The United States government brought the FDA on board after witnessing the consequences of overfishing. These days, the collection and sale of this rare species are restricted to registered Chilean sea bass fishing vessels, and the population is strictly controlled. Therefore, it's not exactly simple to jump in and begin fishing. However, it's more of a worldwide endeavor before you start thinking that is some sort of unusual United States overreach. In addition to the United States, 24 additional nations have banned or restricted the export of Chilean sea bass. Unless you are lucky enough to be at the right spot at the right time, it's not easy to taste the fish. Kasum Marsu. Cheese lovers worldwide are enthralled with the wide variety of tastes, textures, and production techniques that make up the world of cheese. Sardinia's Kasum Marsu is arguably the most distinctive of them all. This classic is often referred to as the most deadly cheese in the world. The term Kasum Marsu, which means rotten cheese, comes from the popular Italian sheep's milk cheese pecorino. Kasum Marsu goes through an extra, highly peculiar fermentation or breakdown step. Piophila caseae, a cheese fly, aids in this metamorphosis. It is acceptable, even encouraged, for these flies to deposit their eggs on the cheese. The larvae hatch after depositing their eggs and start eating the cheese, which helps it ferment. These larvae release enzymes. They improve the cheese's taste and soften its texture as they devour it. The existence of live wiggling maggots in Kasum Marsu is seen by many Sardinians as an indication of its authenticity and superior quality, rather than a symptom of contamination. According to traditionalists, if they are dead, the cheese has gone rotten and is unsafe to eat. The larvae are the biggest concern. If eaten alive, they may survive the digestive tract and cause parasitic illnesses. Additionally, these larvae may jump up to 15 centimeters when agitated, which could be harmful to the eyes. Therefore, it is banned in the United States due to health and safety concerns. Japanese pufferfish, fugu. The delicate flavor and possible danger of the Japanese pufferfish, or fugu, make it so alluring. Some people find excitement in knowing that this fish might be lethal if not cooked properly. More deadly than cyanide is tetrodotoxin, a strong neurotoxin found in the fish's organs and occasionally its skin. A small quantity can paralyze a person and cause asphyxiation. To obtain a license to cook fugu in Japan, chefs must complete years of intense training and pass a demanding exam. Because of these precautions, customer safety is guaranteed, and fugu poisoning cases are extremely uncommon. However, several nations, including the United States, have implemented laws due to the inherent hazards of fugu use. Only a small number of establishments are authorized to offer fugu in the United States, and even then, only if they import the fish from authorized Japanese vendors. Due to these reasons, fugu is a rare and strictly regulated delicacy, with its sale and consumption prohibited or severely restricted in many parts of the United States. Sassafras oil. Let's turn to a banned ingredient with a different kind of danger. The sassafras tree is a medium-sized tree that thrives in the deep forests of the eastern United States. Sassafras oil, which is mostly extracted from the bark of the tree's roots, has a unique perfume that is evocative of root beer. Native American tribes in North America used it to cure a wide range of conditions, from rheumatism and fevers to reducing pain and inflammation. Additionally, because of its fresh, spicy flavor, sassafras oil was occasionally utilized as a fragrance in soaps and perfumes. Given its extensive history and wide range of applications, why was sassafras oil prohibited in the United States? Modern science provides explanations. Scientific research on saffrole, a key ingredient in sassafras oil, began in the 1960s. It was discovered that saffrole was a carcinogen and that it was directly related to rats developing liver cancer. Quick action was required if a key component of a well-known beverage had the potential to cause cancer. The Food and Drug Administration investigated the matter after these discoveries, carefully examining the possible dangers of consuming saffrole. Their research supported the original results, demonstrating that saffrole is carcinogenic. Because of this, the FDA forbade the interstate transportation of sassafras bark for use in food and drink in 1960. Foie Grass. In French restaurants, foie gras has a devoted following and is frequently ordered. Duck or goose liver, which has a texture similar to butter, may cost up to $125 per kilogram, making its price alone contentious. However, that's not the only issue with this popular meal. Many birds are sadly force-fed in a way that makes their livers nearly 10 times larger than they should be for them to exist. Animal rights advocates, like any person with a heart in their chest, believe this to be cruel and unacceptable, as you would guess. Although the dish hasn't been outlawed in America yet, New York City is starting the process. The Municipal Council, home to over 1,000 eateries that offer foie gras, proposed a ban in October 2019. These actions align with a broader movement that considers the welfare of animals in food production, encouraging more ethical dining choices and promoting awareness around animal rights issues. The delicacy, served with truffles on bread, has a rich flavor and a smooth texture. If you want to try it before it's gone, do so. Shark fin soup. Foie gras stirs debate over animal welfare. Shark fin soup, a banned dish, raises concerns about marine conservation. If you've never heard of shark finning, it will enrage you, especially if Gordon Ramsay is the one who first introduces it to you. Indeed, the idea of a dish filled with shark fins is repulsive. Someone has to chop off a shark's fin while it's still alive to even reach the kitchen. After that, the miserable animal is put back in the water to perish in apparent agony. Over the past 20 years, demand has increased significantly. The interesting thing about the soup is that it has very little taste or nutritional value, despite being a popular dish. Additionally, the soup is used to treat several ailments, including the flu. Although this soup is regarded as a delicacy by many, it is rarely found on menus in the United States. Some people think that's because it tastes good, but it may be that killing so many sharks for such a mediocre meal just doesn't seem all that appealing. Whatever your opinion of these predators that live in the water, it is obvious that their disappearance might seriously disturb or perhaps wipe out the ecology. Doesn't that sound like all this for a cup of soup? Sturgeon caviar. You'll likely be purchasing caviar for Christmas if you're quite wealthy. However, if you are one of those wealthy caviar givers, you are likely aware that there is one type of caviar that is prohibited. I suppose you can't purchase Sturgeon Caviar or happiness with money. Because of this expensive and delectable treat, sturgeon are in danger of going extinct all over the world. While fishing for sturgeon is completely permitted in certain regions, it is regulated in many other nations. But it doesn't address the issue. After all, there's a reason the illicit trade exists, right? The United States, which is looking for a notable increase in the population of everyone's favorite caviar fish, is unable to buy this delicacy. Even if there are illicit operations, caviar is still traded on the black market. The WWF now advises against buying any caviar from wild sturgeon, claiming that doing so is merely hastening the loss of a stunning species. Pig blood cake. Our next destination is Taiwan, where local chefs have created a delicacy that is, let's say, controversial. Although some people find the English blood sausage disgusting, the Taiwanese chose to go a step further and create a blood cake. Pig's blood cake is a street food treat that is best described as a mixture of sticky rice and steamed pig blood, topped with peanut powder and coriander, and served with dipping sauces. More power to you, or your stomach anyway, if any of it sounds appetizing. The delicacy was rapidly outlawed in the United States. As soon as it was discovered on American soil, the Department of Agriculture issued a ban. Although there was never a formal explanation for the prohibition, it was most likely something like, "Good Lord, that thing is gross." It's difficult to disagree with that, but hey, good for you if you enjoy it. However, the Taiwanese government was not pleased with the prohibition since they saw it as a cultural assault. Purple mangosteen. Let's switch gears to something sweet but equally off-limits. One of the most prized and sought-after tropical fruits in the world, the mangosteen is regarded as the queen of fruits. It has an extremely short shelf life because it is a fragile fruit that changes quickly after harvest. Thailand is home to purple mangosteen, and the Asian fruit fly used to plague several Asian nations. Sounds extremely delicious, isn't it? Go to your local exotic fruit store and look for the purple mangosteen if you want to sample what many chefs across the globe believe to be the most beautiful fruit in existence. Although it is usually in season from August to October, the first half of the year sees the most demand for the fruit. The leaves of the purple mangosteen can be boiled to treat and mend wounds, and it is thought to have antibacterial qualities that may help prevent illnesses. American authorities prohibited the importation of mangosteen to stop the flies from getting into the country and harming domestic crops. To prevent this, the United States restricted the import of mangosteen and other fruits from regions where the fruit fly was prevalent. It was completely banned until 2007, when the restriction was repealed. However, any mangosteen imported now must undergo irradiation to ensure all fruit flies and larvae are killed. Ackee fruit. The Ackee fruit is the colorful Jamaican culture. Although it is highly valued in its homeland, it is a subject of caution and limitation in the US. When the fruit is mature, it bursts open to expose delicate yellow arils and lustrous black seeds. These arils are the fruit's edible portions, and they have a texture similar to scrambled eggs. The United States stands in sharp contrast to its reception in Jamaica. The actual risks of consuming the fruit too soon are the cause for worry, not its flavor or cultural significance. Hypoglycin A and B are the two main toxins in it. Despite being poisonous, traditional societies used its seeds in small amounts for various medicines. However, Ackee's standing in toxins found in ackee. These poisons have the potential to cause Jamaican vomiting sickness, a potentially deadly illness. JVS symptoms might be as little as hypoglycemia and vomiting, or as serious as coma or death. Since this lowers the danger of JVS, the United States Food and Drug Administration tightly regulates ackee imports and only permits fully processed, canned ackee that satisfies safety criteria to safeguard customers. Because of this, canned ackee is allowed in the United States under certain restrictions, but fresh ackee is rarely accessible. Sea turtles. The idea of consuming any kind of turtle is unsettling. It is said to be quite flavorful nevertheless, and for a peculiar reason. Depending on the section of the turtle being eaten, it may taste like fish, veal, chicken, or even hog. The popularity of sea turtles on American menus many years ago can be explained by this. Several kinds of soups were among the many diverse recipes made with the turtles. Eventually, this specific treat disappeared from American culture, and the reason for this is very clear. There aren't enough sea turtles in the ocean to support everyone. Because Americans don't want to jeopardize the extinction of the green sea turtle species, it is now carefully protected. Because they are now protected by the Endangered Species Act, eating one is illegal and will probably result in legal action. Ellin Bunting. Another tiny rare bird has faced a similar fate due to its scarcity and once prestigious status on elite menus. Native to many regions of Europe and Asia, the Ellin Bunting is a little songbird. It has long been the focus of both ethical debate and culinary appeal. In the past, the bird was caught, fattened, and then eaten whole, bones and all, in some French culinary traditions. The ceremonial eating procedure frequently involved the diner covering their head with a napkin, supposedly done to improve the sensory experience and conceal the act from God. The preparation of the bird for consumption, drowned in Armagnac, as well as the danger to the species from overhunting, are the sources of the issue. Because of this, shooting and selling Ellin Buntings for culinary purposes has been prohibited in France since 1999. However, they are nevertheless consumed underground. The Ellin Bunting is protected in the United States by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which forbids its capture and sale. Furthermore, ethical concerns about its preparation and consumption further cemented its restricted status in the American culinary scene. Mirabel Plums. The small yellow plums are called Mirabel Plums, and it seems that they are exclusively grown in the Lorraine region of France. As a result, they are quite difficult to get in the United States, due to French import regulations that classify them as a fruit of protected origin. They are quite difficult to locate. Because of this, the small and incredibly delicious Mirabel plums are prohibited in all 50 states of the United States. This is unfortunate because they are reputed to be extremely sweet and flavorful. It appears that if you're a plum enthusiast, you'll need to take a trip to France to savor the delicious Mirabel plums. The good news is that 20% of commercially farmed Mirabel plums are turned into eau de vie, a perfume that you may take back to the United States if you just like the way they smell. In addition, they are extremely nutrient-dense and a great source of antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Additionally, they lower the risk of several chronic illnesses, including diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and osteoporosis. Redfish. To say that it's incredible that a single chef can produce a dish that completely transforms the ethnic cuisine scene would be an understatement. The renowned New Orleans chef, Paul Prudhomme, is known for creating a fish so delicious that it nearly killed off a whole species. I'm serious. Chef Prudhomme promoted his most recent invention, a dish for charred redfish, in 1980. After trying it for themselves, some individuals were so impressed by the flavor that they informed others, and others told others. Before you knew it, half of America was aware of this amazing dish and simply had to give it a try. Due to one tasty fish, redfish were shortly placed on the endangered species list. To give the fish time to recuperate, the United States Commerce Department compelled redfish fisheries to completely shut down. However, redfish is still prohibited as a food today. All United States except Mississippi have made it unlawful to consume redfish. Silver Dry GES. While redfish found itself restricted due to overfishing concerns, not all banned items come from the ocean. Some, like silver Dry GES, add sparkle to desserts but are restricted due to safety concerns. Did you know that adding silver to food is technically against the law? Silver was outlawed as a food coloring ingredient in 1906. As long as you don't eat the silver Dry GES, using them as food decorations is still completely okay. Try to figure that one out. The formal term for the tiny, bead-like silver sparkles that are typically placed on top of cupcakes and other baked goods is silver Dry GES. FDA rules state that they are completely good for decorating, but not for ingestion. When these small beads gained popularity in the 1970s, the FDA was unable to stop them because, As it turns out, they are coated with real silver. However, when a lawsuit was filed in 2003, silver Dry GES were completely outlawed in California due to evidence that they may induce argyria, a disorder that causes graying of the skin. You should be all right if you don't pop silver Dry GES like they're Tic Tacs. Of course, that only occurs if you ingest an unimaginable quantity of silver. Thank you for watching and staying tuned for more.